Mm. Okay, can you guys hear me?
Yes, we can. Yes, we can.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
So let's just give others a minute or two and then we'll start.
All right, great, fantastic.
Okay, one more minute. One more minute and then we start. Okay, I guess we can start now. Others would probably join us during the call. So welcome everybody, and welcome to this meeting today. First, my name is Bukola Kolade. I'm the product lead at Binet Learning. And for many of us that don't know what Binet Learning does or what we do at Binet Learning, Binet Learning trains people. We offer courses in different areas. We offer courses in project management, in business analysis, data analysis, WordPress, Agile, and the rest. So if you're looking to do any of this training, I know that today's session is more focused on, project management. But however, if you're also looking to do any of the trainings I've mentioned, please do not hesitate to reach out to us, because at BNS, we don't just teach, we coach, and we also mentor. So let's get right into it. But before we even get into it, can we just do a quick introduction in the chat box? So just drop your name and wherever you're joining from. You're joining from Lagos, you're joining from Abuja, you're joining from Canada, just drop your name. You can add what you do and where you're joining from. So quickly, let's just do that in the chat box. Okay, Michelle, I see you. Michelle from Canada. Okay. I'm expecting the other guys' responses. So please respond in the chat box before we move on. Your name, where you're joining from, quickly, please. Okay, Elizabeth from Canada. Oh, seems we have a lot of Canadians here. Okay. Okay, welcome Elizabeth. Welcome Michelle. Any other person before we go right into what we are here for today? Okay, Emmanuel from Lagos. Okay, welcome everybody. Thank you for responding. So as we all are aware, we are here to talk about leveraging AI and the tools to build a successful career in project management. I'm sure this year, I think the buzz about AI started sometime last year, yeah? I'm sure we must have heard AI, everyday AI. On LinkedIn, on Instagram, you see, oh, how many 10 tools you can use, or 10 AI tools you can use to do this, 10 AI, 5 AI tools you can use to do this. There've been a lot of buzz about AI, and AI, artificial intelligence has really, revolutionized how we work, and our current reality at our workplace. Right. So during this event, we will be delving into the exciting world of AI and explore how project managers can leverage this tool, that means the technology rather, and the powerful tools like Jira, Confluence, and other great tools that project managers use to build a successful career in project management. So I see we have a business analyst here, and we also have a certified project manager. So I'm guessing the rest of us are also, maybe we want to transition into project management, or we are already a project manager. We are just coming here to, listen to how we can leverage AI and other tools, right, to build a successful career in project management. And that is what we will be doing here today. And we have somebody in our midst that will be taking us on that. We have an amazing speaker here. So I will just do a quick introduction of our speaker, and then our speaker would come on and talk to us about how we can leverage AI. This AI that we've been hearing about here, you would learn how to leverage it, and also tools you can use to build a successful project management career. So join me to welcome Ahmed Odufuwa. Ahmed is a dynamic market leader with a background in banking, fintech, and FIRE industry. He excels in developing customer-centric, innovative payment and fintech solutions, leveraging FIRE technologies to drive Africa's development. With a decade of experience, Ahmed has successfully delivered global digital products and led technical projects in payments, process automations, and digital platform development using PMP, that is project management and agile methodologies. It combines a vibrant, innovative mindset with a passion for utilizing technology to deliver impactful solutions. So welcome, Ahmed. We are glad to have you here today, and we hope to learn a lot from you. Yeah. And I'm sure people would have so many things to take back that they can, leverage for their project management career. Welcome, Ahmed. You have the floor.
Thank you, Bukola. Pretty excited to be here, and really much happy that a number of us, made our time to join. Can you hear me? Can you hear me?
Yes.
All right, fantastic. Can you see my screen? I'm sharing my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right, great stuff. All right. So thank you, Bukola. And you pronounced my surname well, but you didn't quite get it exactly. So I'll take it that you are not Nigerian.
I'm sorry about that.
I'll take it that you're not. So I make excuses, and what project management actually speaks to is the fact that you want to get value, you understand. And how do you get value? Basically through collaboration, through interactions, and you have an open mind, right? So we're going to have a good time, right, this evening. I know I have roughly about 30 minutes. Bukola, am I correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So I'll try to keep to time, and I would also love that this is interactive. And to start the conversation, I want us to sort of like ask ourselves, right? Do we feel threatened by AI? I want us to drop comments in the chat box. Do you feel threatened by AI? A number of people have concerns that AI is going to take our jobs. AI is here to, well, what's clear is that AI is here to stay. So does any of us feel like, AI is going to replace human being in the near future and probably we won't have jobs? Maybe on this call, I won't be the one speaking to be a robot speaking. Then Bukola will probably not be, she'll be a cyborg or something, half human, half robot or something like that. So I want to hear from us. So let me see. I have a number of people on the call. I have Emmanuel, I have Michelle, so can I get comments? Do you think yes or no? Just yes or no comments, and I'll take the next 30 minutes just to hear from you. Do you think AI is something that is it bad or is it good? Is it, so if it's so if it is AI good? Yeah, if it's a yes, that means it's good. If it's a no, then that means it's bad. I'd like to quickly just hear. Not a problem. No. All right. Fantastic. Fantastic. Thank you, Lizzie. Thank you, Michelle. I would like to have more comments coming. Maybe one more comments and I'll then proceed. Yeah. Emmanuel, are you there? Yeah. Let me see. I have some interesting names here. I have Abby. I have, let me see. Who else do I have on the call? I have Dauda. I have, yeah, I already spoke about, I have Biwumi. I have Liz. I have something. So, okay, let me see. I have one more comment. No, all right. So thank you guys. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So we all think AI is a good thing. And I find that very, very exciting because it simply means that we are open-minded people and we are ready, for the change coming, right? Because what this simply tells us is that AI, can either be a force for good or a force for evil, right? So, but most importantly, what we are after is the fact that AI is a force for good. So, under the context of what we're told to discuss, right? Or what, because I'm just facilitating the session. Many of what I'll be speaking to, many of us are familiar with them, but I just want to open your mind to more things, right? Because BNS basically gives room for that opportunity to grow the mind. This is some form of thought leadership, exchanging ideas and all sorts. So yeah, so we have several careers, particularly when you speak about project management, right? We have the project manager itself, right? Where basically what you're trying to do is to manage a project. We have a program manager. Basically, what you're doing is you're managing a group of related projects. So your scope in terms of what you're managing is sort of wider, right? And you also have a portfolio manager who then looks at things at a very strategic level, and all of this we'll discuss as we move along, right? We also have the agile or scrum master. So there's a transition, right? Even by the PMI, right? That's the Project Management Institute, which is the foremost institute when you talk about project management, right? In terms of the knowledge. So what happened or what is happening is that you see a quick transition because of the pervasiveness of technology, and particularly technologies like AI, right? There's hardly any project manager now that can ignore the existence of AI. So even if you're doing the traditional methodology, right, you will still need to consider the fact that technology is here to stay, and using technology is what will make you better, efficient, gives you the edge beyond the above other project managers that you probably might be competing for the same job with. So it makes you work smarter and faster, right? So you're better equipped if you have AI as a tool in your arsenal, right? Yeah, so I was talking about Agile and Scrum Master, and this basically speaks to the fact that, organizations are trying to be more nimble, trying to focus on business value, trying to focus on how we can really just think about value for the business beyond what we used to know, because what we used to know before now, which is the traditional model, is that if changes come, we're very rigid, we're not really we'll first define what we want to do. And once we do that, right, we stick to that and we don't necessarily permit for changes, right? But what agile, the mindset or the agile mindset, what it focuses on is that if a change comes and it's going to add more value to the business, yes, why not? Let's take it. And, you know, you have a Scrum Master. There are other methodology. And as we look along, as we move along, right, I'm going to explain a bit more around this. Yes, this is a very short session. And, you know, BNet exists so that you can have further conversations around this and also make you, you know, journey through the thinking around getting certified and all of that. So, yeah, so moving along, I just explained, you see the first thing you have there, project manager, you have so these are things that you can aspire to. And some of us currently are either project managers already. If you're aspiring, yes, you can be a project manager. And the graduation of that is that if you start expanding the scope of work that you do, you can become a program manager, you can become a portfolio manager, and also you can become a Scrum Master or an Agile coach, which basically just you know, speaks to the Agile mindset, the Agile framework, which is what is very pervasive when you want to work with technology specifically. Now you also have a risk manager. You can have certifications around that, you know, because when you accommodate changes, you also need to be very aware of your risk factors so that, you know, you have proper execution and, you know, you don't derail your project. And you also exist as a project coordinator. Now, interestingly, what you realize a lot in technology is that there's a very, very interesting handshake between projects and products, right? Now, product being an offshoot of the execution of a project, but it doesn't necessarily mean that we have interesting cases where project managers are easily able to transit to being product managers, because you then fully understand what it means to you know, manage the entire project life cycle. Usually what you're doing is working with product owners and ultimately working with you know, development team, you know, pushing the project out, right? So these are the various opportunities that exist when you speak about project management. And just like I said, you know, you can journey on, you can, you know, have BNet handle you on this journey if you are interested in becoming any of this, right? Then of course we speak about AI, right? Very interestingly, AI is a very interesting topic, and I find it exciting anytime I get to discuss AI, right? What is pretty hot right now is the concept of generative AI, right? Generative AI is not what you're familiar with as, say, maybe last year or year before. Now it's pretty pervasive in the sense that a very good example is ChatGPT. You can, you know, log into that tool, right, and have interesting ideas generated. In preparing for this presentation, I you know, I leverage on that power of AI, you know, to you know, to present, to, you know, to prepare for this conversation. Because what happens is that a lot of us, you know, and being project managers I mean, being project managers the way we are, we sort of like, you know, focus on seeking information quickly, fastly, and ultimately, you know, efficiently in a way that we can use it to, you know, execute on our projects and then, you know, deliver the desired results. Now, using generative AI, and like I said, a very good example is ChatGPT, very common. Google also has a tool called the BARD, right? So what these tools are for basically is that they are not the conventional sort of things. They can write, they can do things humans can do, and hence the word generative, right? They rely on a number of data sets, right? And every business, whether we're conscious of it or not, generates data, right? So whether be the conventional, traditional businesses, by way of your accounts, record keeping, by way of your documenting your processes, right? All of this information that you keep, right, usually is expressed as data, right? And of course, in now feeding that information to AI, right, you can build what you call generative AI. And just like I said, a good example is the ChatGPT. Now, I also have the machine learning, right? And I decided to just pick these two items as, you know, things that are worth our weight of conversation, because machine learning basically speaks to the fact that, you know, based on the data that has been gathered, right, you can now, you know, apply what you call data science, right, to making it possible through what you call models, right? So you have interesting things. So I'm not trying to make this conversation technical, just bear with me, but it's what it is. So many times, as we would see as we graduate, you don't need to, being project managers, you don't need to go to the rudiments, but in understanding how these things are done, it will help you appreciate the tool better and use it more effectively. And that's why we're on this call, right? Okay. So yeah, so like I said, these key things, right, around generative AI and machine learning are the key concepts, right, where basically you're just feeding a system with data, right, and you have different interesting models that people had built, right, and based on that, the machine can decide on a couple of things. So let me give you an example. Say maybe you're trying to execute on a project, and for some reason you want to be reminded of certain things, right? Based on how your project has been performing, right? You could actually have a tool you're using that would have leveraged, would have been trained on AI to help you track your projects. Like, for example, if your project is over the budget, it would probably just maybe trigger an email and tell you, oh, your project is over the budget. If you are, over the schedule as well, it will probably trigger a notification to tell you, oh, your project is over the schedule. Now, when Bukola spoke to us, we heard things like, Jira, we heard things like Confluence. Now, some of these softwares, like they're web-based softwares, right, where you can just easily create accounts and then log in and then start using some of these tools. Many of all these softwares have embedded AI in them to do smart things for us, right? I can remember the days where we typically would keep track of our projects using Gantt charts, right, and Microsoft projects, right? Now, you could ask me, is Microsoft Project an AI tool? Not exactly, right? But then it's a project management tool, right? Basically because it helps you make your life in tracking your schedule easier. But what you now see is that Microsoft recently partnered with OpenAI, which is the company that's made ChatGPT, to embed what you call co-pilots, right? And all of that feature is going to be integrated to a number of the Office tools that we have. So interestingly, in maybe along the line as we move along, you will start seeing some AI embedded in Microsoft projects, and you can start having smart suggestions, smart tracking of your project. Very fascinating things that could happen without you necessarily probably needing to even open the sheets or do anything, right? So I would also then speak to the fact that because AI is able to do these things, a number of things are making it happen, right? And those things include cloud computing, and this is why, for example, the likes of Jira, the likes of Confluence are able to be accessible to you and I. Cloud computing, meaning that these softwares don't necessarily now need to be hosted locally. They don't need to start worrying about servers. They could easily speak to the likes of Amazon or even Google or even any other cloud provider that can then host some of these AI tools, right? Or some of these project management tools that have capabilities of AI. So yeah, so with what I've said, if you have questions, please drop them so that I could use the same time to address them once I'm done. All right, so as we move along now, what is interesting for me now, I'm trying to talk about project management itself. There are three key things, right? When you speak about project management, there are three key things that comes to mind, right? The project itself, right? Also the fact that you have a product, emanating from the existence of that project. Then, of course, once the project is delivered, it turns to an operational activity, right? PMI defines a project as a temporary endeavor, usually undertaken to create a unique product, outcome, or results, right? And once you are, executing a project, that's why we bear in mind project management, and hence the need for tools. So usually when you're executing a project, there are things that impinge on you. And as you could see on the center, you're bothered around schedule, you're bothered around cost, you're bothered around, the scope, right? So when you think about these things, it's a lot of worry for a project manager, and the project manager then seeks things that can make him more efficient, more effective in executing his work, and that's why AI and the project management tools are pretty very important. Now, you live and die by your tools, but trust me, you don't necessarily, say that, okay, if you don't have the tools, you can't function, but it makes you work better. It makes you smarter. Just imagine we're all on this call now, and it's all by the power of things like cloud computing, all by the power of things like AI, that has made this possible for us to be on this call. All right. So then, of course, when, like I said, once the project is executed, you have all of that result in a product, and the product goes through a life cycle: introduction, growth, maturity, and the decline phase, ultimately to then become operationalized. So that's the everyday going concern that you have for your product. Now, I have what's it called? I have infused, or had taken the time to put AI in one slide. It's a very tough one, but I'll try to break it down because just like I had mentioned, AI doesn't exist on its own. AI exists because you have a framework around organizing data, right? What you usually have, in very exciting places where probably maybe you're an AI project manager, right? What you tend to realize is that you have a framework around your data, right? So you have what you call the data estate, and also very important, you have in that data estate, you have what you consider as what exactly is the quality of data that you have, right? Then of course you also think about the bias that those data has. So let me give a very good example. Say today you are a manufacturing company, right? Maybe for instance, you make cars, right? So let's give a very common example. Say maybe you make, maybe Elon Musk, you make Tesla cars, right? Now, interestingly, what you would realize is that a lot of data is going to be generated by the existence of this product. So because the product is heavily tech-based, right? That product, as is in the market, is going to be generating a lot of data insights. Now, all of those data that is generating needs to be properly arranged in what you call a data estate, right? Now, I'm using a software example because AI is technology as aware. And if you really want to enjoy the power of AI, what you realize is that you will then need to start thinking around things, how, you keep your data, and, how those data are properly organized. Then when you speak about keeping that data, it's important you also think about the quality of the data, and ultimately the biases those data carry. Now, what do I mean by the quality of the data, right? Say for example, just in the example I gave, you have your cars being driven almost around the world, right? But for the most part of Africa, for example, Tesla doesn't exist. So you realize that if you want to gain insights around, maybe for example, the same insights I would have gained in America or Canada, right, or in the US. So of course the US is America. So the point I'm making is, if you want to make inferences, or you want to make use AI based on that and bring that same data set, right, to Africa, right, it will be biased, and the quality for that market, it would just be wrong, right? So there has to be context around how you use your data. So like I said, you need to have a data estate. You have to consider the quality and the biases that your data carry. And just as you could see, there are several definitions of AI. AI is basically the ability of a computer to perform tasks commonly associated with intelligent beings. So ultimately, the goal is, we pretty much we'll start seeing, AI in the form of robots, doing things that we could do, right? Say, for example, you could have robots that could be in the house and could be, giving sort of emotional support to people and things like that, right? And AI is broadly categorized into weak and strong AI. A lot of the conversation as to the use cases of AI in project management is largely weak AI. And what do I mean? It's mild AI, where you have assistance embedded into the tools, the PM tools that we have today. So just like to go back to the example that we mentioned, we have Jira, you have Confluence, you have ClickUp, you have different tools, right? So ultimately, and even the Microsoft projects, for example, you have AI embedded into the systems, and this embedding of AI into the system usually is categorized as weak AI, right? The strong AI is where you have the AI doing things that humans can actually do. So you could imagine you having an AI that is a PM. That's when you start speaking about strong AI, right? And also, so this is like looking at it from the very low spectrum all the way to the high spectrum, where we're speaking about, the fact that you could, just embed AI into certain existing softwares that could function as assistants for you, right? To make you better, to make you more efficient. And you will see that as we move along in this conversation, right? So just to speak about the fact that you also need to, when you're doing your data estate, you need to ingest the data, analyze it, then ultimately look out for insights, because that is what you're really trying to do, because like I said, weak AI is what the focus of our conversation is. We're not really going very deeply into the fact that we're going to start designing things that could think like a human being, right? For example, if you want to crack down how ChatGPT was made, that's like it's not a too strong AI, but you could almost say that we're tending to also basically speaking about super intelligence, right? Yeah. So, and also interestingly, you also want to, when you're thinking about AI, how do you want to, you need to consider data strategy and also the application that you're thinking about using it for, and just not to be so abstract. So let me bring this all home and really bring it back home for us as project managers. What I'm saying is that this is AI when you speak to AI in its broad sense, right? So just try to hold it together. So if you're pretty much interested in learning more about AI and things around data estate, the quality and biases and things like that, right? That's going to be pretty exciting. And what you find out is that you could also be an AI project manager, because AI pervades all domain. Any domain where basically you're creating something new, right? And there's a beginning and there's an end to whatever you're creating, right? That is where you sit comfortably. And we're now speaking to the fact that even while you're doing your job, you would need AI to help you, to give you an edge, to make you more efficient and get more success on your projects. Interestingly, if you look at the statistics of many projects that fail as conducted by the PMI, you realize that the more help you can get, the better for you. So let's quickly move on. Just trying to move on to the next slide. All right. So what we're saying is that these are AI-based tools become powerful assets, and they're not meant to replace you. They're meant to augment you, augment your skills, right? Make you better project managers, and you will just facilitate your career and make you excellent project managers. But what you then see is that there's a space for places like BNet Learning, if you are not into projects at all, where you're able to get some standards, to embed on yourself, right, and make you better, have the solid foundation, right? So of course, AI is not the first thing. If you're thinking of being a project manager, AI wouldn't be the first thing that you start saying that, oh, if I learn the AI tools, I'll just go and be using tools to manage projects. No, what you need to do first is get the foundation, which is, for example, you could approach BNet to get your PMP, right? So like, for example, I'm a PMP, and just like I am so much fascinated about AI, I use AI tools to make me better, give me an edge. So if a task was supposed to be repetitive and really very clunky and all of that, I could just, automate it in some of the softwares that you probably I will speak about as we move along. Yeah. All right, so just like I said, what we're trying to do is ultimately, use AI to streamline processes, improve our decision making, and increase our efficiency in the overall, right? So what exactly is happening? So when you do projects, right, there are different things that happens on the project. So you're going to be doing planning, you're going to be doing a lot of insight and analytics, because you have to do a lot of budgeting and things like that, right? And what you realize is that when you're planning your projects, right, with the information or with the data that you've kept, particularly for projects you've done in the past, if you feed that into some of these tools that are AI driven, right, you could, it could help you, just by way of the fact that it has access to this data. optimize your resource allocation, give you insights around potential risk and bottlenecks that might exist, that you as a human being might find it very difficult to do. That's what machines are usually very good at, right? So many of the tools that, for example, with the advent of the fact that AI is really pervading everything. I spoke about the fact that Microsoft, for example, has partnered with OpenAI to embed, for example, the ChatGPT into some of its applications, and by way of extension, you have that embedded as we move along into MS projects, right? So you would have a lot of AI tools that, of course, without needing to do much, you'll be able to optimize your resource allocation, provide insights for it to provide insights for you around risk and also bottlenecks that might exist. So that's speaking to planning, because in doing your projects, these are some of the things that, the PMI gives you a guide to execute on, right? So, and of course, PMI also recognizes the fact that you would need tools, right, to help you execute on some of your projects. Now, also speaking to the fact that, data analytics and insights, right, that's like piggybacking on what happens during your planning and scheduling, and you need insights, you need a lot of insights, based on the fact that, yes, you're able to gather a lot of data, right? Because as you execute on your project, you are generating data points, right? So all those data points you're generating, you're able to feed it back into the system, and God help you, all of the data points you're generating are not written on the paper somewhere. You're also digitizing all of that data points, and you're feeding it back into your application that you're using, and you're able to get insights as a result. Now, also speaking about collaboration, right? Interestingly, right, you have AI, coming to help in places where, you could have communication. So what the future will look like will be pretty exciting, and we need to just open our mind to what's possible. So you have, Facebook, for example, talking about the VR headset. I think, was it Apple also that announced the VR headsets, right? Where basically you have augmented reality, and for example, if you have in executing your projects, you have teams dispersed across the world, you can start thinking around leveraging some of these tools to make connection on the project team better, right? Because what project management is today is you pretty much focus on stakeholders, right? And in engaging your stakeholders, you are you would like to have what you could almost call a face-to-face interaction, and guess what? AI tools, are already making this possible, right? Through AR, VR technologies, right? Also, we speak about risk, right? And that is, going to see a lot of the fact that you're being able to gather a lot of data. The machine is able to analyze this data, and based on the fact that it's been able to do that, you are able to better manage your projects and equip yourself and do better on the projects. And, because you have these tools, you are more guaranteed of success, because nothing beats you. You now have a machine by your side. So there's a collaboration between you and the machine to achieve success on your projects. Also for monitoring, this is what computers do well. Even before we had the advent of AI, you have situations where you have prompts, assistants in most of the applications and most of the project management tools that could prompt you to say, this project is already going overrunning, right? So you will then, seek redresses and see how you could bring things back on track. Also for, decision support. So, for example, you want to make decision around cost, around schedule, around resource availability, and also, risk levels. You have AI, to be with you every step of the way. All right. So just so that we think about it. So you could be an IT project manager, you could be a construction manager, healthcare project manager, an event planner, and just so to make it even more interesting, an AI project manager, because like I said, the field of project management is such that you can be in any domain of knowledge, right? And for as long as you're going to be building something, you're going to be creating something new, right? You can be a project manager. And what that does is that, some of all these tools, they are softwares. Many of them are web-based, right? We've spoken about Jira, we've spoken about Confluence, right? Many of them are web-based. And what happens is that you can explore some of these tools and you realize that many of them have AI already embedded in them. And some of them are even working in form of iteration to get more AI embedded into the system. So I mean, you're going to have a pretty exciting ride. I haven't understood everything I've spoken about, so yeah. So yeah, so just to cap it up, right? I've spoken on the fact that, technologies like cloud, VR, Internet of Things. So let me explain more about the Internet of Things. Now you have situations where, you know, uh, uh, devices as we know them today are not going to be what they had been. So, for example, you could have some of the softwares integrated into your phones or into your watch or into maybe even your fridge. Like, for example, you could have a fridge where you could get updates, and these things exist today, so you could go check them out. You could have them integrated into your existing softwares through APIs, and you have your browsers being notified. So when you wake up in the morning, you see on the display of the fridge, you can see your project status and things like that. So, and all of that is possible because you are now having an integrative and adaptive way of looking at things. So yeah, so ultimately, it's an exciting time that we live in. It's an exciting future. And I would love to hear from you while you're on the call. You could, post comments in the chat. If you have questions, please feel free. This is where we talk, right? So all I've done is just facilitate the conversation. Now, what I find interesting is that you have to be the human factor in the world of AI. So we can't be robots, right? We can't, try to compete with these machines. What we should do is start positioning ourselves to work side by side with the machine and be better human being. Like, for example, before the era of, say, personal computing, right? We had situations where we had to use very funny things to manage our work, right? Now we have, personal computers, and now we're moving into the world of AI, where for all you care, you might not even need to use your software. All you need is just a bot, and you speak, the commands to the bots, and the next thing you're able to, manage your projects effectively and really track your projects and gain a lot of success in terms of whatever you're trying to build. Thank you. You can connect with me. That's my LinkedIn on the screen. Bukola, over to you. I just want to optimize for time. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. It's been a really insightful session. So if you have questions, please drop in the chat box. So while I'm waiting for people to drop their question, I will just say thank you again, Ahmed. It's been a really wonderful session. I mean, where you talked about how AI helps us to work smart. So I know there's this thing they say, work smart and not hard. Yeah. So for those of us that we are scared or we are worried that AI is going to take my job, or AI is is going to make me lose my job, I think you should look at it, look at the brighter side, because AI can actually make us really more efficient in our workplace. So that idea of working smart and not hard comes back in again, because there are a lot of tools, like you mentioned, that we can leverage, and almost all the tools out there right now have AI in them. Like they've sort of implemented a form of AI in them that can help you make your work better, really. So okay, I think we have a question here. Let me just quickly read that question. Can you show the slide again with project planning and project schedule? I missed some of the steps. Okay. Will we receive the recording? Yes, the recording will be sent to all the attendees. And I think it will also be uploaded on our YouTube page. So yeah, you would have the recording.
Okay, so since the recording will be shared, I'm sure, Michelle, you'll be taking care of, so you don't need to even write anything. Let's use AI. Let's leverage technology to make our lives better.
Yeah. Any other questions? Let the questions keep coming. Questions. It seems like we don't have questions. Should we move on? Okay, maybe some people are still typing their questions. Yeah. Okay, I see. How has project management roles changed?
Okay. Yeah. So, Michelle, thanks for that question. What has happened to the project management role is such that you then see a transition from rapid transition from what we used to know before, which was a traditional method, right? To thinking about the fact that technology has pervaded everything, right? So most importantly, you also see a project manager needing to be pretty much aware, of AI, right? Pretty much aware of the AI technology as against the way, many project managers have been doing stuff in the past. So you see a rapid transition from what you used to know before, which is a project manager who necessarily doesn't mind using using any of the latest tools, right? Using any of the latest tools, right? To see that, you need to have AI by your side to have that cutting edge as a project manager, right? If you don't have those tools by your side, right, you would not compete favorably, because trust me, the thinking around project management now has gone beyond just delivering outcomes or delivering project results, right? What you're focusing on now is adding value to the business, right? And how do you add value, with all the stakeholders that you have with you, right? So in terms of thinking around adding value, being able to, use technology, use the latest technology, right, would help a great deal to making it easy for you to add value, right? So you see a lot of transitioning, to people really relying on tools like that have generative AI capabilities, right? So you'll find interesting things happening on some of these tools that we were familiar with. You find interesting things that you could do on them. Say, for example, you want to, with just very few information, some of these tools will start taking information like you just tell them the nature of the project, they will draft an optimized schedule for you. And all you don't need to, draft your schedule from scratch. Similar to what you used to have in terms of having templates on some of the tools that you had before. All you just need to do is just tell the AI, okay, so I'm trying to do something just type some prompts. It's usually called prompts, right? So you type, those things, and what then happens is that in very few seconds, something that probably would have taken you hours to do, right? You're spending like 10 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, to do those things. And then, what that means is that you now become more efficient, more productive. Of course, in translating that to the business, you've saved the business a lot of time. Speed to market is faster, so if you're able to, accommodate these tools and have the tools in your arsenal, right? It makes you better, it makes you faster, it makes you smarter. And that's the transition that you've had from, what the project management used to be before to where it is now, right? So you have a lot of thinking around agile, even for the traditional methodologies, you have, the concept of hybrid, being embedded, because technology has very much pervaded everything, right? So Michelle, does that answer your question? I hope I was able to deal with some of the points that you had.
Yeah, thank you,
Ahmed. Fantastic.
I think what you said about how it makes us efficient, and when maybe something that would take you usually 10 minutes, you then use 5 minutes. I think on my end also, and this is not just a project management thing. I think is almost any career right now you can use AI. I know then, instead of you're looking for a template for something, you need to work on something. You first go to Google, search different templates, check. You can spend hours actually doing that. And now you can just go to something, you can just go to a tool like ChatGPT and, say, can you give me a template on this? And then you see a template that you can just customize instead of the long hours of, checking and checking, looking for the best template. Okay, so I think we have another question here. Oh, this is quite long. Okay, let me read it from Emmanuel Olushola. It says, in an environment that's less digital and more tangible and physical, like construction and energy, collaboration is rather done on site rather than leveraging tools, especially with the guys doing the job, which we might call development team in Scrum. And sometimes these guys are not digitally inclined, but rather technically inclined, maybe mechanically or electrically based on the tasks going on. How do you find a way to leverage these tools?
All right. So I love the way you framed your question, Emmanuel. It simply means that you understand, you understand what exactly obtains. So when you mentioned in your question, you mentioned the concept of Scrum, right? And so many of these technologies, right? Or sorry, many of these methodologies or tools, right? Are not supposed to hold you down. So there's a concept of tailoring, right? And what is very obvious, for example, in what the PMI even says, is that you use what suits your projects, right? You use what suits you within the spectrum of what you're trying to do. So, for example, in energy and in construction, the tools are not supposed to be things that will break the team. The tools are things that would help you form a lot of cohesion in the team, right? So what you should do in such a situation is, many times you as the project manager, you are, you're an enabler, for many of your stakeholders, right? Your job is to educate them around agile principles, so the point is, for a sector like construction, right, you can't be fully agile, right? But in some of the so I could say that many times in construction, you have a portfolio setting, right? In some of your projects, right, within that same execution, right, you could have a situation where you actually use agile to facilitate the conversation, and you would have to be the one to train those people, right? You would have to be the one to help them understand that, okay, this is a better way to work. Like, exactly, my brother. So what you will realize is that, fantastic. So what you realize is that, for example, I mentioned the use of Google, the use of VR and AR, right? Now, Apple brought out a new technology. Now those technologies can help in being, for example, being on site, right? You could have a point person that will represent these people who will then report to you, and you probably don't need to commute. And the experience will be as though you were there. You have holograms really coming up. The hologram would be projected. Maybe maybe, for example, you're in London, the project is in Lagos. It will just be as though you're there. They will just think that you're with them, right? So my point is, you just need to be aware of these technologies. Ultimately, as you're being aware of the technologies, what then that does for you is make you more efficient, makes you better manage your projects effectively, and your focus ultimately is that you want to gain success of the project with the least efforts, right? And also not laboring your people and not really causing a lot of rancor in the team. So the technology is not to force it down people's throat, don't get me wrong. You need to sort of take the responsibility being the project manager. And yeah, so Bukola, I hope I didn't take too much time answering that question, but I wanted to.
No, not at all. I hope you were able to. I hope it was able to answer your question, Emmanuel.
Emmanuel, I trust you're good. Are you fine?
All right. Are we good?
Yeah, I think it's fine.
Okay. Okay. I'm guessing there are no other questions. Thank you so much, Ahmed, and thank you everybody who attended, who made out time to join this session. It's been really insightful, even for me. So I'm sure every other person that joined has been able to, learn one or two things on how they can leverage AI in their project management career, whether you are just starting your project management career or you already have several years of experience, or you just even want to transition into project management. I'm sure we've been able to learn one or two things that we can then go back and apply for our project management career. So before we go, quickly and before announcements, we actually have something for a lucky winner here. So we would be announcing the most active participants or the most engaging participants, right? And that person is going away with a course voucher. So you want to do a course with us, a project management course with us, you have a voucher, a discounted voucher that you can, use, and some amount to be taking that off for you. I'm sure that is really exciting to hear. So yeah, our lucky winner would be Michelle Jones. I hope I don't spoil your name, but
all right, so
Michelle Jones. Yeah, let me just stop at that.
Yeah, Michelle Jones Cunningham.
Yeah. So congratulations. We would reach out to you on how you can redeem your prize. Congratulations once again, Michelle.
Thank you.
Okay, so yes, thank you. So before we go, we have an upcoming webinar. An upcoming bootcamp rather. The project management bootcamp. So for those of us that are yet to, do a course in project management, or we are looking to write our PMP exam, we at Binet Learning we are offering the project management bootcamp. I think it's for about 5 weekends. And we have one upcoming in July. So if you want to register, please reach out to us. It's coming up July 8th. Please reach out to us via any of our platforms, or you can send an email to us, or that's at info@binetlearning.com, or you can reach out to us via any of our social media pages. Also, I would be dropping a link in the chat box. So I want us to please take out some time to fill the form. So it's just a feedback form, right? So we want to, for us to be able to have amazing events like this and, make them better. It will be great for us to, have your feedback. So please take out time to fill the form so we can get your feedback. And also, if you have questions about the project management bootcamp at Binet Learning, please feel free to share with us in the form, and we will email you with the answers as soon as possible. Right, so please take your time and fill the form. I'm sure it wouldn't take you maybe 3 minutes thereabout, and you are done. So yeah, thank you, everybody. Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you for your time. Thank you for the knowledge you shared. It's really great to have everyone here, and to all the participants and attendees, we say a very big thank you for joining our event, and we look forward to seeing you join maybe any of our boot camps or any of our future events. Thank you so much, everybody. Thank you. So yeah, that is it for us today. Thank you, guys. Bye.
Bye.